You know, the NFL draft is such a special time for fans, the organization, and of course the players who have worked their entire lives for this weekend. And earlier this week, I caught up with ESPN analyst Booger McFarland to talk about his draft process versus now and who the Ravens could be eyeing with that 27th overall pick.
If recruiting is the lifeblood of college football, then the draft is the lifeblood of the NFL because it's the talent acquisition phase, right? So how do you change your team? Either through free agency or the draft.
Now that you're on the other side of it and you're covering the game that you grew up playing and that you love, and you're able to kind of maybe mentor some of these younger guys that are coming through the ranks, how much have you seen just the whole draft process kind of change from when you were getting drafted in '99?
Number one, it's covered year round. Number two, guys are preparing for the draft year round. You had kids opting out of seasons a couple of years ago. And even now, man, like there's so many draft pundits and so many people who are experts in mock drafts and all these different things. The draft has kind of become an entity of its own from the standpoint of it's not just the draft, it's the combine, it's the off season. So the draft takes on really from the time the Super Bowl ends it's like a 3 or 4 month deal.
Where do you sit on the overall scope of this draft?
I think this is a draft where if you have picks in the top 4 rounds, you're going to be able to get quality football players that can come in and be starters on your team for a long time. And they may develop in the Hall of Fame and all-pro players. You don't know. But I think at the floor, I think at the floor of a lot of these players in this draft is going to be solid NFL starter that's going to play 7 to 10 years.
Where do you feel like the Ravens should go and what should they look to do in this draft?
If there's a safety that can kind of play center field, Malachi Starks come to mind. Every time I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Malachi is kind of there. You often hear play like a Raven. And what does that mean? It just means the mentality, how we play football, how we show up to work. Malachi Starks is that guy. I don't worry about the testing numbers. I don't worry about what he ran in the 40. I've seen some of the plays that he made. He comes from a football program in Georgia where I know football is important down in Georgia.
Offensively, do you feel like they need to bolster up anything on that side of the ball?
Like you can always talk about the offensive line and maybe adding another receiver, depending on what's going to happen with Mark Andrews. I saw they were non-committal with him. We'll see. Could Mason Taylor be a possibility there? I doubt it because you got Likely. Likely's got to take the next step forward, depending on whether or not you bring Andrews back. Do you need another wideout? Do you need a bigger wideout? You got Zay, Bateman. I think they could be okay there. Defensively, though, I think because here's what happens when you pay the quarterback as much as you're paying him. He's got to make sure the other guys rise up. Now you got to go help this defense out, man, to make sure you can stop somebody.